It was really a beautiful experience because, that's a tradition. The next president is supposed to invite you back to hang them.
Before the White House, before the global spotlight, Michelle Obama's true sanctuary was a 6,400-square-foot Kenwood home, tucked beneath the shade of Chicago's old trees. With carved fireplaces, stained glass windows, and classic architecture, the residence reflects the quiet elegance of a neighborhood steeped in history and legacy. Today, we're taking a closer look at her home, her assets, and the private life she rarely shares with the world. But first, let's step back to the beginning of her extraordinary journey. Born Michelle LaVaughn Robinson on January 17, 1964, she grew up on Chicago's South Shore in a modest apartment where love, discipline, and education shaped her earliest worldview. Her father, Fraser Robinson, battled multiple sclerosis throughout her childhood, and witnessing his daily resilience left an indelible mark on her character. Driven to create stability for herself and her family, Michelle poured herself into her studies. By 1981, she graduated from Whitney Young High School as the second highest-ranking student in her class, a first hint of the academic powerhouse she would become. At Princeton University, she majored in sociology with a minor in African American studies, graduating with honors in 1985, setting the stage for a life that would inspire millions. Beyond academics, Michelle found her voice at the Third World Center, a cultural and academic hub supporting minority students. It was there that she began shaping the leadership philosophy that would later define her public life. Harvard Law School followed, where she earned her degree in 1988 and worked in the Harvard legal office, helping low-income tenants navigate housing disputes. Personal tragedy struck early in her career. In 1991, both her father and a close friend passed away. Michelle has said these losses forced her to reevaluate the meaning of purpose and contribution, ultimately steering her away from corporate law and toward public service. But before that shift, fate intervened. At the Chicago law firm Sidley Austin, she met a young summer associate, Barack Obama. They married on October 3, 1992, beginning a partnership that would eventually reshape American history. Throughout the 1990s, Michelle's career moved quickly. She served as an assistant to Mayor Richard Daley and later as assistant commissioner for the City of Chicago's Planning and Development Department, steadily building the experience and perspective that would propel her onto the national stage. In 1993, Michelle became executive director of the Chicago chapter of Public Allies, where she helped young people develop leadership skills for careers in public service. By 1996, she had joined the University of Chicago as Associate Dean of Student Services, creating the university's first community service program, a landmark achievement that reflected her deep belief in civic engagement and giving back. Her influence only grew from there. In 2002, Michelle became executive director of Community and External Relations for the University of Chicago Hospital, later rising to vice president in 2005 with a salary of $317,000. Even as Barack's political career advanced, from Illinois state senator in 1996 to U.S. senator in 2004, the Obamas chose to stay in Chicago, prioritizing stability and continuity for their daughters, Malia and Sasha. Michelle continued working part-time until just before Barack's presidential inauguration in 2009, balancing a demanding career with family life and public service. As First Lady from 2009 to 2017, Michelle Obama redefined the role, making it modern, dynamic, and deeply personal. Though initially hesitant about campaigning, she quickly became a powerful advocate, speaking candidly about race, education, motherhood, and the everyday realities of American family life. During her tenure, she launched 4 major initiatives: Let's Move, combating childhood obesity; Reach Higher, supporting students pursuing higher education; Let Girls Learn, empowering young women globally; and Joining Forces, supporting military families. She championed work-life balance, healthier school lunches, and LGBTQ+ rights, using her platform to push for meaningful change across American society. Even after leaving the White House, Michelle continued to shape public life. In 2018, she published Becoming, one of the best-selling memoirs of all time, followed by The Light We Carry in 2022. She actively advocated for voting rights during the 2021 Georgia Senate election, attended Joe Biden's inauguration in Sergio Hudson's now iconic Plum Ensemble, and was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame the same year. Her influence only keeps growing. In 2023, she surprised fans by joining Bruce Springsteen on stage in Barcelona. And in 2024, she delivered a commanding speech at the Democratic National Convention, an address many said even eclipsed her husband's iconic moments in the spotlight. After years of public service and rising political visibility, the Obamas chose stability over spectacle, settling into a home that reflected their values, history, and deep connection to Chicago's South Side, the Kenwood residence. For $1.6 million, they acquired a timeless mansion in Kenwood, one of Chicago's most historic neighborhoods. The house sits on a tree-lined street where centuries-old oaks arch overhead and grand estates whisper the stories of decades past. At 6,400 square feet, with 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, the residence is a classic 2.5-story American mansion built not just for a family, but to carry a legacy. The foyer opens into a space steeped in history, hand-carved fireplaces crafted by a German artisan who came to Chicago during the World's Fair, stained glass windows that glow in the afternoon light, and intricate architectural details that make the home feel more like a living museum of Chicago heritage than a private residence. This is not a modern mansion of cold, impersonal luxury. It's a living piece of art. The newly renovated kitchen perfectly blends modern convenience with traditional charm. A custom-made island anchors the space, surrounded by marble floors, high-end appliances, and a pantry large enough to handle family gatherings, holiday meals, and the steady stream of guests that comes naturally when your last name is Obama. It's a space that balances practicality with elegance, where everyday life meets quiet sophistication. The master suite continues this theme of refined comfort. Walk-in closets lined with quartz countertops create a boutique-like experience, while the master bathroom offers spa-level tranquility. Every detail feels intentional, designed for a family that understands the balance between privacy, comfort, and understated luxury. And then there's the third floor, once a ballroom in a different era, hinting at the home's rich history and its ability to transform with the lives of those who inhabit it. Today, that once grand third-floor ballroom serves a softer purpose, a calm retreat, perfect for reading, reflection, or simply escaping the noise of the world. Its transformation mirrors the Obamas' lifestyle, one foot firmly in history, the other in the present. The family lived in this Kenwood residence until they moved to the White House in 2009, and remarkably, they still own the property today. It stands as the physical anchor of their Chicago story, a tangible reminder of where their journey began, and a symbol of the values that shaped their rise. If the Kenwood home represents the Obamas' roots, then their Martha's Vineyard estate tells another chapter, a story defined by reflection, renewal, and life after the presidency. Mansion in Martha's Vineyard. In 2019, the Obamas purchased a sprawling $11.75 million retreat, a coastal property that feels less like a vacation home and more like a private world of their own. Set on 29 acres of lush waterfront land, the 7,000-square-foot main residence perfectly blends New England serenity with understated presidential luxury. Originally owned by Wyc Grousbeck, the Boston Celtics owner, the estate exudes grandeur from the moment you step inside. The living room, expansive and architecturally striking, stretches beneath a vaulted ceiling supported by exposed steel beams. At its heart, a dramatic stone fireplace rises, turning even the quietest evening into something cinematic. It's a space that effortlessly accommodates intimate family moments while remaining polished enough for hosting world leaders. The estate doesn't stop at the main house. It includes 2 guest houses, each thoughtfully designed for privacy, perfect for visiting friends, extended family, or, in the Obama household, their grown daughters Sasha and Malia. A small but charming detail. The garage holds only 2 cars, meaning the girls have likely mastered the art of guest parking on a presidential property. It's touches like this that make the estate feel intimate and human, despite its grand scale. The master suite is a retreat in itself, complete with a fireplace, a private patio, and sweeping views of the water that shift with the tides. Step outside, and the landscape unfolds like a coastal dream. A sparkling pool framed by manicured gardens, gentle breezes carrying the sound of distant waves, and open spaces designed to slow life down. Summers here are made for lounging by the pool, wandering quiet walking trails, or exploring the estate's crown jewel, direct access to the Great Pond. Every corner of the property reflects a balance of elegance, serenity, and the practical comforts of a family home. And of course, homes like these come with vehicles that match both lifestyle and security. Let's take a closer look at the cars associated with Michelle Obama. If there's a vehicle that embodies the weight and gravity of the First Lady's role, it's Cadillac One, often nicknamed the Beast. During her White House years, this wasn't just transportation. It was a moving fortress, engineered to protect the President and First Lady under any circumstance. With armored plating weighing over 20,000 pounds, 5-inch thick doors, run-flat tires, and a sealed cabin capable of withstanding chemical threats, Cadillac One is less a car and more a symbol of American power and security. Outside the presidential bubble, Michelle's world returned to something more grounded, and that's where the Chevrolet Suburban comes in. While it's a backbone of the Secret Service SUV fleet, it's also the quintessential American family vehicle, reliable, spacious, and built for real life. With 3 rows of seating, nearly 145 cubic feet of cargo space, and advanced safety systems, it's perfect for transporting children, staff, or community leaders during Michelle's countless outreach events. Here, security and everyday practicality meet seamlessly, just like the life she leads. Away from the public eye, Michelle's personal taste shines in the Range Rover Sport, a vehicle that balances elegance with capability. It's luxury that whispers rather than shouts. With a choice of a 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-6 or a 5.0-liter supercharged V8, producing up to 518 horsepower, the Range Rover Sport is built for refined performance, whether gliding through city streets or navigating the coastal paths of Martha's Vineyard. Michelle Obama's cars were never about being seen. They were about protecting her family, supporting her role, and carrying her through a life lived between public responsibility and private grace. That same balance of elegance and intention carries through every aspect of her lifestyle. Her approach to luxury is thoughtful, understated, and always tied to purpose. She never buys to impress. She chooses things that last. A perfect example is her Cartier Tank Française watch. Simple, iconic, with a stainless steel bracelet, silver dial, and sapphire crystal face. Priced around $4,000. To some, it may seem extravagant. To Michelle, it's a timeless piece of design and craftsmanship, the kind of accessory that stays with you for decades. Michelle Obama's vacations follow the same pattern as the rest of her life, luxurious but purposeful and private. While she has sailed on some of the world's most impressive yachts, these trips are rare escapes for someone who spent 8 years in the brightest spotlight on Earth. She's been spotted aboard Steven Spielberg's new Seven Seas, a 357-foot super yacht with 4,800 horsepower engines and room for 14 guests, valued at around $250 million. She's also enjoyed David Geffen's Rising Sun, a 452-foot vessel that has hosted icons like Oprah and Paul McCartney, worth roughly $300 million. These yachts showcase not just luxury, but the scale of the circles the Obamas now move in. For work-related travel, Michelle often chooses the Bombardier Challenger 300, a mid-size executive jet. Seating 8 passengers with a sleek, modern interior, it provides the comfort and efficiency needed for long trips. Chartering it can run about $77,000 per hour, while purchasing one outright can cost up to $15 million. Even in travel, Michelle balances privacy, practicality, and elegance, making every journey feel both intentional and effortless. And of course, no discussion of Michelle Obama's travel is complete without Air Force One, the most recognizable plane in the world. During Barack Obama's presidency, Michelle traveled aboard this Boeing VC-25, a flying White House with 4,000 square feet of space across 3 levels. Capable of mid-air refueling and virtually global reach, it costs around $210,000 per hour to operate. More than a plane, it's a symbol of national power and a reminder of the immense responsibility she carried. For shorter trips, Michelle often flew in the Sikorsky 5H-92 Patriot, the presidential helicopter. Seating up to 19 passengers and reaching speeds of 190 miles per hour, each helicopter costs over $200 million. Strong, secure, and purpose-built, it's another example of how safety and functionality guide her lifestyle. What ties all of this together? Michelle Obama's lifestyle is refined, yes, but always intentional. Every home, vehicle, and mode of travel isn't about flaunting wealth. It's about supporting a life of service, speaking engagements, family, and constant motion. And that brings us to the next chapter, how she balances all of this while remaining grounded, private, and focused on purpose. So, where does Michelle Obama's wealth really come from? Income and net worth. Michelle Obama's financial success didn't stem from holding political office. Instead, it comes from her voice, her influence, and her ability to connect with people across the globe. Today, Michelle and Barack Obama share an estimated net worth of $70 million, a sum largely built in the years after leaving the White House. The biggest contributor? Publishing. In 2017, the Obamas signed a landmark $65 million book deal with Penguin Random House. Michelle's memoir, Becoming, 2018, quickly became a cultural phenomenon. It sold 750,000 copies on its first day and went on to surpass 10 million copies worldwide, generating tens of millions in royalties alone. Michelle Obama's second book, The Light We Carry, 2022, added another steady stream of income. International editions and ongoing sales continue to generate revenue, proving that her words have become one of her most powerful assets. Public speaking is another major pillar of her financial success. Michelle is one of the most sought-after speakers in the world, commanding $200,000 to $500,000 per event. Her talks on leadership, education, empowerment, and wellness regularly fill arenas, while stadium-sized book tours have brought in millions during peak years. In every sense, she is a modern American thought leader. Media and production have also played a central role. Together with Barack, she co-founded Higher Ground Productions, the company behind award-winning documentaries, children's shows like Waffles plus Mochi, and other Netflix projects. Their multi-year Netflix deal is estimated at over $50 million, expanding her influence into film, storytelling, and global media. Her podcast ventures further solidify her media presence, including the Michelle Obama podcast with Spotify and collaborations with Audible. Taken together, books, speaking, production, and podcasts have turned her influence into a significant and sustained revenue engine. Before the White House, Michelle built a solid professional foundation. She practiced law at Sidley Austin, where she first met Barack. She later transitioned into public service roles across Chicago, eventually becoming Vice President of Community Relations and External Affairs at the University of Chicago Medical Center, earning $317,000 in 2005. These early earnings were meaningful but modest compared to the financial landscape shaped by her post-2017 career. Michelle Obama's wealth is not just financial. It's built on ideas, leadership, and cultural impact, assets that continue to grow with every book, speech, and project she releases. And behind that public influence is a private life, shaped by marriage, motherhood, and the quiet strength that has always defined her. Personal life. Michelle Obama's relationship with Barack began long before either of them became a household name. They met at the Chicago law firm Sidley Austin, where Michelle was assigned to mentor a promising summer associate, Barack Obama. Both were among the few African-American lawyers at the firm, a reminder of how rare their paths were at the time. Their connection started professionally, over a business lunch and a community meeting, where Barack's passion for service immediately stood out. Before meeting him, Michelle had told her mother she planned to focus entirely on her career. Romance wasn't on the agenda, but their first date, seeing Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, would change the course of her life. Barack later described their early bond as a case of opposites attract. Michelle came from a close, stable household, while he carried a sense of adventure shaped by a childhood that spanned multiple states and countries. They married on October 3, 1992, beginning a partnership that would carry them from Chicago's South Side to the global stage. The journey wasn't without its challenges. After a miscarriage, Michelle underwent in vitro fertilization to conceive their daughters. Malia was born in 1998, followed by Sasha in 2001, and motherhood quickly became the anchor of her life. When Barack was elected president in 2008, Michelle made it her mission to protect her daughter's sense of normalcy. Malia and Sasha attended Sidwell Friends School, a private Quaker institution known for both academic excellence and discretion. In a move that captured national attention, Michelle's mother, Marion Robinson, moved into the White House to help care for the girls. This multi-generational household, unusual for a presidency, reflected Michelle's values, bringing routine, warmth, and family stability to a place defined by constant pressure. Through the demands of public life and the global spotlight, Michelle has often said that what sustained her most were the small, everyday moments: family dinners, bedtime routines, and quiet time with her daughters. Even after leaving the White House, that foundation remains at the heart of her identity. Thank you for joining us to explore the world of Michelle Obama, her homes, her history, her voice, and the legacy she continues to build. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life behind the public figure, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected. We'll see you in the next journey into the lives of the extraordinary.